Hi, I am Zoe and I am from Paranormal Extraction and I am your supernatural interviewer. And today we have James back because he had another story about a haunted object. And I also have my story. But we call this Return It to Sender. So let's welcome James. Now don't forget everybody, we do one take. So if you hear a phone or a dog barking, that's what we get for the day. So, hey James, I'm coming over to sit down and talk to you about your really cool story that we have. We both have stories. So, tell me about the return this object to sender. I know that we spoke on the phone after we did the first video, and you wanted to speak about this, and I went, oh wow. I've got this great story that I wanted to tell you too, which I did really quickly. And so why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about the story? I mean, it's a good story.
I used to work many hours, different split shifts, and I kind of like moonlighted. I made my own little business during the daytime, carpet shampoo, and it was a cash and carry kind of a deal. And so within my county. So I got a call and I went to this customer's house, and it was a townhouse, not that far from me. And when I walked into the townhouse, I could not only smell this odor that smelled like death. It's kind of like a smell like cotton candy kind of a smell, but I also felt this presence of somebody. Obviously, whoever this odor was this person that had passed. So without being told that.
Yeah, but wait, James, you didn't know that the person had passed though when you first came in. I mean.
No, there was no mention of beforehand when she called me to hire me, and I used to just hand out flyers at supermarkets and bulletin boards, and it wasn't any big business, but I always kept records of everybody so that I could get repeat business. Anyway, so I went into the place and I could smell this death, this presence, this like cotton candy kind of odor. And then I was introduced to a woman that was young, probably mid-20s or so. She was divorced. And she began to tell me that she bought this townhouse, and she got a good deal, but somebody had passed on it. It passed away in this. And went in and started to tell me the story. And I knew already, before she told me about it, that somebody had passed away in there. So basically... I told her, look, I could definitely get the stain out, the odors out. And I said, it might take a second application. I said, but I'll be fair. I'll give you a good price. And if I have to come a second time, I'll guarantee that the odor will be gone. I said, as far as the spirit, I can't do that. So I set up all my gear.
Wait a second.
Went to work. And there was very few pieces of furniture.
James, hey, I want to click in here. But I thought you didn't know, I'm going to just say it again, I thought you didn't know about the spirit. Did she tell you that there was a spirit there?
She told me about it after I was already in the townhouse, but I had already, sensed that smell and that presence before she even told me.
Yeah, you sensed it, but she didn't tell you about it yet. Okay, right, all right.
No, she didn't tell me until I started to tell her what I could do, and I explained to her, I can get rid of the odor, and she began to tell me after I already was in the building, and I already knew that there was somebody that had passed in there. I could just sense it, I could feel it. So already knowing, on my own, with my own sixth sense, but I guess whatever you want to call it, I knew that somebody had died in there. And so then she went on to tell me about it. Like I said, I already had known with my own intuition about it. Right. So I went about my business, and the townhouse was pretty well empty. And there was a small, tiny piece of furniture, very tiny little table that you put together. And there's a little lid on it that opens up for jewelry or whatever.
Right.
And it was at the top of the stairs, and with a couple of little religious medals and statues on it. And so I moved that, laying all the things down. I was on top of it, moved it, worked under it, did the whole shampoo, went about the whole house. And so when I left there, I explained to her, call me back. You know, the order is a lot less. And I said, it'll probably need a second application. So, and I said, as far as the spirit that I felt when I came in here, and then that you told me about it after the fact,
okay.
I said, I can't do anything about that.
Right.
So with that, I
Can't do
said,
anything
call me
about it.
within the next 10 days, you know, and I'll come back. And I said, just to go over it again, I said, I won't charge you anywhere near what I did initially. So the strange thing is this little table that these various type of little metals were on, a very light piece of furniture, about the only piece in there at the time. She just had bought the townhouse. My mother gave me pretty much the same exact piece of furniture back probably in the beginning of the 90s. Now this carpet shampoo was done probably about, according to my records, I was looking at the other day, just a little bit over 12 years ago. And so obviously this piece of furniture my mother bought on a vacation with my father many years ago was given as a gift to me, and it's I still have it today.
Right. That's
so I think that's kind of a little bit different, a little bit odd.
That's a photo that you sent me, because it's kind of it's very strange that she had this table in her townhome, and then you had the same table. But go ahead and tell us about. Okay, so you came in the second day, and
so what I did is I asked her to call me back, and I got there and I set up all my equipment in the front door. And the way the townhouse is set up, it's split so that your living room, dining room, kitchen, half bath is downstairs. Your bedrooms and full bath is upstairs. And so at the top of the stairs, where that table was no longer there. And as soon as I entered that, like the door wasn't even closing behind me, and I could still smell that smell, not as strong, but that presence, like somebody was like breathing over me, like right next to me.
Ooh.
It was gone.
So the second time you went in, it was gone.
It was gone. The smell wasn't, but that presence was gone.
Okay, yeah. So the smell was still there. So what happened? I mean, what did she tell you next? I mean, what happened next?
So what I did is, as I was setting up, I was looking up to the top of the stairs, and I noticed that small piece of furniture was gone. So when she was on the phone, when she finally got settled, she came out and I said, look, you know, I'm going to do the second application, went through the whole drill of what I was going to do. And I said, by the way, I said, that smell is still here, you know, but it's slight. And I said, this time I'll get rid of it. I said, but I didn't feel that presence of that's, you know, when I came in.
Right.
So I said, where's that little tiny table that was at the top of the stairs that I had to move the first time? So then she went into telling me that previously it was a couple that were married that lived there, and it got to be a bitter divorce, to say the least. I mean, the way she described it, I won't use the words. So they got divorced. They were in the process of getting divorced, and he took an overdose in the townhouse.
Yeah, in the townhouse, right.
And he died in the townhouse. And from what she described, the wife was still living there. They were in the process of getting divorced. So the end result is he commits suicide, and she moves out. Along with it, some of the furniture maybe she took, maybe she sold some, but this little table was left, along with that smell of death in there. And so when I came back now, she told me what you know, that piece was now gone, and what it was when he died and she left, that piece remained.
Right.
And so when this new person came in, when she came into this townhouse, you know, she ultimately finally opened up this little lid, and she found various letters, birthday cards and letters from a woman. Well, it was the person that had passed, his sister, that had sent him various cards and letters, and most of them were still in the envelope with the return address on it. So basically what she did is she got in touch with this woman and explained who she was and the townhouse that she had bought. And she had learned at that point that this woman was the sister to this person that had died in this
Right.
townhouse. So after several calls, and they finally made the arrangements, and the sister came, and she took the little table. There was a set of rosary beads inside the little door that opened,
Yeah.
and various little statues on top. So along with that, she took all of those things. And this is in between when I did my first application of the carpet shampooing and before I returned to do the second.
Right.
So that's why when I returned the second time, that slight odor was still there. But that heavy presence when I came in was not.
Yeah, so you actually felt, I mean, when you came in the front door, you felt that definite presence of something that was sinister or something just wasn't right when you went in
Yeah,
there.
definitely.
And that smell of death was stronger. So
And it was really kind of weird to that same piece of furniture. I mean, coincidence, I don't know what you want to call it, but pretty much down to the letter that my mother gave me many years prior to that I still have. And I just, when I got home that night, I remember looking at it and
yeah,
like, wow.
that same table, I mean, didn't it freak you out? Like, I would want to I don't know, get rid of it. I mean, wouldn't you? It didn't freak you out seeing that same table.
It did, but I mean, it was something that many years before my mother had passed on a vacation, she had bought it for me, and it's not a really fancy, heavy piece of furniture. It's small, and it was packed in a box, and you had to put the legs onto it. And when you open it, there was something you'd wind up on the bottom of it, and when you would wind it up, when it would open, it would play a song. I forgot what the song was.
Yeah, actually, we took a picture of it, and when I did my little ad to say that you were coming on again, you had sent me the photo of it, and I used that photo and put over the top, return this object to sender, and that you were coming on. So that was a great little photo piece that you gave me that we did. So there, actually, when I post the video, underneath I'll put a picture of that object so people can see it.
Okay.
So that was it. That was the end of the story. So she got rid of it, and then she never called you again, correct?
No, she didn't. So when I started to tell you about this and recalling it, I always kept composition books of all my customers by county and alphabetically by name. And on there, what I did, what I did carpet-wise, how much I charged, directions if I didn't know, things that I liked about that customer, a certain dog that they had, if the husband made beer or wine or whatever, all kind of notes like that. And so on the back of it was a page that pretty much reminded me of when, the events that happened there. So,
Well, you tried to get a hold of her again to see how she was doing, and she had moved.
So what I did is the townhouse, the estate that she lived in, was maybe about 8 miles from where I live. I've been in the same home now for over 30 years, and so I said, well, I'll call. Well, the number was disconnected. So I thought, well, maybe, at the time it was a landline. I said, well, maybe it was a cell phone that she now has, but she's still living in the same residence. So I said, well, why not? It's one day when I'm going to be out that way doing something, shopping or whatever, before I'll stop and I knew where it was. I knew the exact, unit.
And just
and
check
I
on
went
her.
and I went and she had moved.
Oh,
So-
well, so that's the end of that, but that's a great little story, and I'm glad that you shared that all with us, because I'm sure a lot of people out there have had interesting occurrences like this, which is more of the supernatural nature. But I am going to tell my little story now, James, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Are you finished with that story?
Yes.
Okay. I am going to tell you about the most haunted object, and I'm going to call it haunted on this. And what happened for me was I went to a garage sale with Dee, my partner, and I was living in Arizona at this time, and there was this beautiful mirror. I mean, it's huge. It was like, you probably can't see me. Can you see me?
Yeah, a little bit.
There, okay. So it was a huge, gigantic mirror, okay? And it was so beautiful. And when I looked at this mirror, I was like, I have to have this mirror. It's just, and my partner was like, how are we gonna get this home? I mean, you know, I have a convertible, and it was like, there was no way we could get it home. But we actually figured out how to stick it out of the convertible to get home, because we went home and he was mad that I was gonna get, actually, James, he was pissed that I wanted to get this mirror. So we got the mirror and I got it home and we put it up on the wall, which was not an easy process. Then he even got even more upset. What?
Those big legs we bought to put under it.
Oh, yeah. So we even had to buy, James, we had to buy these big legs to put under it because it would not hang on the wall with molly bolts or anything like this. So we put these little, anyways. So we had this mirror up on the wall for quite some time, and just little strange little things started happening around the house. And long story short, I had back surgery and I had to sit on the couch, and the mirror was on the wall to the right, and I couldn't really get off the couch for a while because I had just had back surgery. Well, let me tell you what. All of a sudden, I started noticing little things move. My cat would not come anywhere in that living room. She would come in and go around a certain hallway to get to the kitchen and would not just dart out of the living room. So there was a lot of strange things that happened there. So me knowing there was something wrong with the mirror, I decided to go down. I realized that it was probably a portal of some type. And you know, so what is a portal? It's a doorway or a gate to another dimension, okay? If you don't know what a portal is, you've probably heard of that. And so I shut that down, thinking I shut it down, but I guess it didn't shut down. So I moved, okay, quickly. I moved to Reno, and that was a long story on why I moved here. And so we hung it in our new house. Well, after we hung this mirror, things continued to happen. I mean, things were not good at all. Everything fell apart. The landlord was terrible. My cat got killed. I mean, it was just a horrific event to be there. We even got a court order in order to be able to move out of that house early. So as these events were happening in the house, and I had some other people that were into the paranormal come in, it was all tagged to this particular mirror, and I started feeling really weird. So I think I started to go into IOP, which I'll explain on the next video that I'm doing about the Ouija board, which is infestation, oppression, or full-on possession. And I was in the infestation phase of that. So I called in some other people. Bottom line is that we ended up moving out of this house. So in the other place that we were moving into, there was no room to put this mirror on the wall. It was just too big. There was no room. And we both decided this mirror's got to go, James. It's just got to go. There's no way this mirror is staying with us. It's bad mojo. It's not doing good. It's just got to go. So I put the ad on Facebook Marketplace, and I don't know what I put it on there for $100, which was really cheap, right? Not one person wanted this mirror. Not one person. And I had it on there for like 2 weeks, and I'm packing and everything else, and I lowered the price and lowered the price and lowered the price and got it down to like $20, and still no bites on this mirror. It was the strangest thing. So we thought we were gonna have to take it with us, James. And I'm saying, because I don't want to get rid of it, and what am I gonna do? I'm not gonna throw it in the trash can. So we came up with this idea. We decided to leave it, any of the items we decided to leave on the street. So anything that we didn't want, we would put free on it. So we put it on the street. Do you know that thing sat there for 4 days? Nobody wanted this mirror.
But then,
4 days.
all of a sudden, because I was out there buzzing around all the time, all
Yeah.
of a sudden, the
It was
mirror, I didn't see anyone come up, and when it disappeared, I was out milling around, packing, doing stuff.
Yes.
All of a sudden, I went out there and said,
And
"Did
it was
someone buy
gone.
the mirror?" And you said, "No." Did someone come? And it's so the mirror basically.
Yeah, this
I
is
had
heavy.
no idea where it went.
I mean,
yeah.
you'd be able to. The thing is that James, you would be able to see someone drive up and putting it in there.
Yeah.
And I was home all the time, going in and
And
out
I
of the
was
house.
too.
There was a big yard. It was right out in the front, and all of a sudden it was gone. And it's like, so when is someone going to take that? I guess maybe during the night. But anyways,
No, it
after that, this mirror went away. All of that bad mojo went away. So
Mirrors are
if
known for.
mirrors are also known to carry anything evil or sinister or anything from the other side, and it could be a portal. So if you go in anywhere and you get a mirror, make sure that you have the techniques to cleanse the mirror. That would be sage, okay, pine, and sweetgrass, okay, always before it comes in your house. And that may not even work. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a little story on me. And we do have a lady that does collect haunted objects, and she's very famous, and she's very well known, and she's going to be coming on and speaking, James, about her haunted objects, and her house is covered in haunted objects. And she has video footage and thermal cameras at night where these things have moved, so it's very interesting. But that is my story. So I just wanted to say thank you so much, James, for coming on
Thank you.
and telling
But wait,
your
I
story.
wanted to add one thing.
And what did you want to
Because
add?
you're talking about found odd. Remember that guy? I can't remember his name. Objects, like James's table and your mirror. But remember that guy that was doing experiments where he would put sand around objects that he thought were haunted, and then he figured out how to put sand around them to see if there was
Right.
movement and things going on.
Yeah, that
he was doing a
that's
scientific
the-
experimentation.
Well, that was the same lady that is going to be coming on.
Oh,
that was her
nice.
partner.
No.
That was when we had the radio show, the worldwide radio show.
Yeah.
And they came on and they were guests a couple times, and they told us that story.
Yeah.
So maybe she'll tell that story.
So one more question.
One more
James, do you have
question.
have you had any recent, like, besides the butterfly and the cardinal? Is that what
Just
you're
that was kind of
getting?
weird. I thought today when I just went out, like, just to walk about the property, and I stopped on the front lawn, and there was a cardinal that was not that far from me. I mean, like, sometimes, when you walk towards a bird, it'll take off, and it was there, and I just stopped dead in my tracks to just watch it. And while I was looking at it, from behind me, like, not really closely over my shoulder, like over my shoulder, this butterfly came. It looked like, it was looking to follow the bird, and the two of them, like, took off together. I was like, that's weird.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but that's not the only story to this, because you said
What I was told,
right.
I have this woman that I know, and she had a younger sister that passed away, and when the sister was alive, her and the sister would be at this deck around the back of the house, and they would have coffee whenever the sister would visit, or breakfast, or out there, and for many, many years, whenever the sister would visit. And so after her younger sister passed, she returned to the same place that she would have this coffee in the morning or breakfast, and the cardinal would appear. And she never had any recollection ever of seeing, a cardinal ever back there. And one of the last times that she got in touch with me on Facebook, on private message, she told me there were quite a few that were in the backyard, not that far from where she was sitting on the deck, and didn't move, were just like hanging out. And I think there's definitely a connection there of beyond.
Well, of course, and so since we spoke before and we did the video before. For some reason, it's not coming to my mind. Loved ones from the other side, we did, because you had those experiences. And then now, now you're having more and more recollections and having more experiences as you've opened the door to speaking up and about this is wonderful that you want to speak out and talk about this stuff because nobody wants to talk about it. So now you're really getting into this, so you'll probably call me again this week or text me and say, I have another story. And I'll be, okay, James, we'll go on again.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So, anyways, I just want to say thank you so much, and it's been a pleasure having you on, and we'll wrap this up. And this is James, and let's say a big thank you for him coming on today, and return these objects to sender.
And we might want to compliment him on going to the Bald Men of America Club.
Bald Men America. Yeah. He got his
Welcome
head
aboard,
shaved.
sir. Welcome
Looks
aboard.
good. All right.
Wonderful.
Like it.
All
I
right.
like it.
Okay, so we're over and out, and we look forward to having you back for a lot more coming on. A lot more different
thank you.
things.
Paranormal Extraction, signing off.